Let's talk about imposter syndrome and any time you might have self-doubt. I want to show you an easy way to realise where you're at in the learning process. What's that got to do with imposter syndrome and self-doubt, Pam, you might ask? I'm going to tell you the answer. Here we go. 4 steps to competency. Maybe you've seen this before, but maybe you don't remember it in your time of need. So the 4 steps to competency go like this. At the very beginning, let's imagine, I can remember when I wanted to learn to drive, I thought it'd be fab. Come from a family of people who are obsessed with engines, thought I'll just do it, no worries at all. So at that point, I am unconsciously incompetent. I don't know how bad I am going to be because I haven't got in the driving seat yet. Then I got in the driving seat and oh my goodness, kangarooing down the road, trying to get the clutch control right. It was all kinds of nightmares. At this point, I am consciously incompetent. I can't do it, and boy do I know I can't do it. Over time, you take some more lessons and you get to the point where you're driving and it's feeling good and you feel competent. However, at this stage, what you are is consciously competent. You have to really think about it. Mirror, signal, manoeuvre. Gears, clutch, accelerator, what's going on, flipping heck, I've got to watch the road as well. All of those things are going on. You're fully concentrating. And then, how do I drive now? Well, you might relate to this if you've got any kind of skill that you've got used to. Sometimes you can do it without even thinking. You've gone for 5, 10 or more miles without ever thinking about changing your gear or any of the other things that happen when you are unconsciously competent. You can do it and you don't even have to think about it. So being consciously competent is a really nice place to be. And the older we get, the more things there are in our lives that we can do without thinking. Now, this is really important in terms of our neuroscience because you haven't got room in your brain to be doing everything afresh every single day. We need some things that'll just run in the background like a computer program that's coded to just make things happen without you having to use your random access memory. In those moments where you are learning something new, guess what happens? You go all the way back down the staircase. It's like snakes and ladders. You are either unconsciously incompetent and wondering why everything's going wrong, or you're consciously incompetent and feeling like I'm never going to be able to get this right, or you're consciously competent and exhausted, because that is an exhausting place to be. You've got to be consciously thinking about everything all of the time. So if what you're experiencing now is something that you have not experienced in this particular way ever before, it's likely that you're experiencing this process. Now, that's been talked about for years. What I think you might be missing out on is giving yourself a break, realizing that stuff and actually connecting with it. So, for instance, when you're consciously incompetent, when it's not going well, what are you going to do? You might start beating yourself up. You might start thinking, I've done the wrong thing. I shouldn't be in this role. I shouldn't have chosen this path. You might be doubting yourself, really thinking like this is no hope at all. Especially if it's a while since you've done something that new. Maybe if you've been in a very comfortable place prior to that, you're thinking, this shouldn't feel this awful. I'm clearly not the person for the role. I shouldn't be in this situation. And then when you move up, when you've done it for a little while and you get to the point where you're consciously competent, again, you might be thinking to yourself, this can't be right because it's much too much like hard work. I can't do anything by automation at the moment. So I've got to be thinking about everything. And you might be very conscious of the mistakes that you're making. But you know what? Learning is about making mistakes and then getting it right and then moving on from there. So I offer you this little staircase as a way of realizing how amazing you are. Because what you need to do also is look back down to where you've come to. it isn't really 4 big steps. It's lots and lots of little steps along the way. And sometimes you might step back down again before you take a step up. All along the way, you need to be recognizing the progress you are making, the things that you have been able to do, the things that you are learning, and the things that are going well. You are meant to learn new things, even when you're in a ripe old age like I am. But it can throw you into a bit of a tailspin when you start to feel uncomfortable about what you're not yet getting right. Remember to focus on the things that you are doing, the things that are going well, the progress that you're making, and give yourself a break. Take a deep breath and realise that it's all in the learning process and you're doing fine.